Hello, my name is Warren E. Freeman Jr. This is episode 82 of Warren's Vlog. It's been a few weeks since I posted a video on my YouTube page. I've been doing some stuff with WWE 2K18, some video editing there. I made a pay-per-view, and then I had a Tekken 7 video recently. But as far as me reviewing a wrestling show, it's been a while. So this is episode 82. I'm going to talk about a few things, mainly Extreme Rules last night in Pittsburgh, which I had the privilege of being there to watch live, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit. I'm going to talk about the concept of stipulation pay-per-views or gimmick pay-per-views as far as Elimination Chamber of Extreme Rules, Hell in a Cell, but I'll get into that at the end of the video. I'm going to start off with some news about Hulk Hogan. Apparently, he was reinstated into the WWE Hall of Fame. There were rumors that he was in Pittsburgh last night. I don't know, maybe he was backstage for Extreme Rules. Who knows? But apparently, Hulk Hogan is with the company. I think the Hogan incident occurred in 2015, and that was before I was doing my Warren's Vlog videos. So, to give you the rundown of why Hulk Hogan was exiled from the WWE in the first place, the story pretty much goes like this. Hogan was making us... I really don't want to get into gory details of this, but Hogan was making a sex tape with his best friend's wife, who his friend was recording. I'm just going to leave that alone. I'm just going to leave that alone right there. But anyway, I'm just basically giving y'all the setting, as gory as fuck as it is. So, within this sex tape, Hogan starts to go on a rant about his daughter. I guess his daughter was seeing a African-American gentleman at the time, and Hogan used a lot of racial slurs, saying, I don't want my daughter dating those N-words, and dropped the N-bomb a couple times. And the thing that kind of chuckled me was he said, at least if she's going to, referring to Brooke, Hulk Hogan referring to Brooke, at least if she's going to date, the N-word, at least let him be a millionaire or a basketball player or something. And it chuckled me. And what was crazy about it is, like, other people, and specifically black people, were like, Warren, how could you not be offended by that? He said the N-word. He disrespected black people. Here's the thing. I'm not offended by it, and I'll tell you why. Because Hogan said it in his house. He was being recorded without his knowledge. Or I guess he knew he was being recorded. But he said it in the privacy of his own home and he was being recorded. And, I'm in my home right now. I live by myself, but hell, I might say stuff in my home that I wouldn't say outside of my home. I have no right to be recorded, and basically all he said was that he didn't want his daughter dating black people. Why am I going to get upset about that? Do I think it's fucked up the way he said it? Yes. Is it offensive, what he said? Absolutely offensive. But me personally, I wasn't offended by it. I just kind of laughed. And that was it. So WWE caught wind of it and they basically exiled him from the company. He was like Chris Benoit for like 3 years. He was removed from the Hall of Fame. No one talked about him. Yeah, it was that bad. Until, I guess, this weekend. He's been reinstated. Which I always knew he was going to be reinstated because Hulk Hogan's kind of hard to ignore. With as much as he's given to the company, with as much as he's done, not just for the WWE, but just for the wrestling business. I don't want to say Hulk Hogan is untouchable, but he's pretty hard to just exile from the company, given everything that he's done. So the news broke that he was reinstated, and that was a big thing yesterday. It was rumored that he was in Pittsburgh for the event. He might have been backstage, so that's the Hogan stuff. So moving on to Extreme Rules. Usually when I do these pay-per-views, I give each match a 1 to 5 rating. But for Money in the Bank, I didn't do that. I just basically talked about the matches, critiqued every match, whether I liked them or not, and then I just gave a letter grade. So that's what I'm going to do for Extreme Rules, and that's what I'm going to do going forward. All right, if I look up, I'm looking up on my TV because I have the card for the show on my Xbox. So, Sienna Andrade Rey, Sienna Almas with Zelina Vega. Oh, Zelina Vega. Taking on Sin Cara. This went 7 minutes flat. And, yeah, Sienna Almas won. I mean, this match to me was kind of pointless. I felt like their match on SmackDown was better. And that could have been because they had more time. Or it could have been just me watching it. It's like, oh, well, I've seen this already, so it's not as fresh. Maybe that's what it was. That being said, it wasn't bad. It was a nice little match. Then we had Sanity versus the New Day. Oh, and I predicted Cien to win, and he did win, so I was right there. We had the New Day versus Sanity in a tables match, which Sanity will go over as I predicted. When I was sitting there live, I was sitting up. Kind of how I'm looking at the camera right now is where the ring was. So I was dead center in the middle of the arena on the second floor. But because I was on the second floor, like you had the steel cage mat or the steel cage kind of obstructed my view of the Titantron. And then you had the lights and the light fixtures. So I couldn't really see. I could see the ring, but I couldn't see the exact finish of the table match. Like I know Kofi went through the table. And I think like Eric Young like fell on Kofi, who then fell to the table. And it happened like on this side of the ring, so I couldn't really see what happened. And then when they showed it on the Titantron, my view again was obstructed because you had the steel cage and the light fixtures in the arena. So yeah, Sanity won. That arguably could have been on the main show, I think. But looking at this card, I don't really think any match, because all these matches, well, not all of them were good, but I guess given what you had, I guess having the Cien Almas versus Sin Cara and then the table match on the pre-show was probably the right move to do. All right, so we go to the main show. We have the B Team taking on the tag team champions, the Raw tag team champions, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. This match went 8 minutes. Nothing really memorable happened here. The B Team won with that Tower of London spot from Bo, or it might have been Curtis Axel that hit on Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy ran into Bray and got Bray knocked out of the ring. Matt Hardy took the fall. It's believed that Bray Wyatt is still injured. That's why they dropped the straps. Personally, I think with Bray Wyatt being at fault for that car accident that he was involved in, maybe that's the office's way of punishing Bray by taking the strap off of him. That's my personal belief. But nonetheless, we got new Raw Tag Champions. And when I did my predictions, I didn't make a video for my predictions, by the way. I actually wrote a column on Facebook, or just a status post on Facebook about it. And I'll post the link to that in the description of this video if you guys want to go ahead and read it, so you can see how right I was, because I rocked ass on this pay-per-view. But yeah, so we got new Raw Tag Champions. We move on to Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin. This arguably could have been on the pre-show, or just should not have been on the show at all. I felt like they had very little build, and it was just on the show because Finn Balor made fun of Baron Corbin's vest and said that he worked at Red Lobster or what, Ruby Tuesdays or something. And that was the only interaction they had. And then they had a tag match, and then we get to the pay-per-view, and they're having a match. It got Finn Balor on the card, so I can't really complain. Finn Balor on the roll-up. That match went 8 minutes and 20 seconds. The tag title match went 8 minutes. If you couldn't tell, I'm reading off of Wikipedia. Then we got Carmella versus Asuka. I'm looking at the time, and it says 5 minutes and 25, but it felt like it was forever. And I just, like, I'm not surprised. I picked Carmella to win, but I just, The point of the fucking shark cage, the point of the shark cage is to keep the person from interfering in the match. Okay? That's the point. But they didn't even raise the shit high. I mean, it wasn't even high enough. Like, at least with Jericho at the Royal Rumble, that bitch was high. With Enzo, it was high. And then you had a nice little spot where Enzo jumped off the cage and Big Cass kicked him as he was falling. That's fucking hilarious. That's how I'm saying. But this, like James Ellsworth, he gets out of the cage. He gets his foot somehow tied to the bottom of the cage. Asuka is just kicking the shit out of him while he's upside down, which that's actually kind of funny. And then, while all of this fuckery is happening, Carmella comes, pushes Asuka up against the cage, the shark cage, and pins her. And it's a weak finish. It's not. It's an effective finish. It still protects Asuka. But I'm to the point now where I'm ready to see Carmella get her ass kicked. Hopefully it's at SummerSlam. Hopefully that happens. And so, like, once we get to Carmella and Asuka, this is where, like, the match was fine. But this is where the pay-per-view starts to lose credibility for me at this point. Then we go to Shinsuke Nakamura versus Jeff Hardy, which only lasted 6 seconds. They do their entrance. Shinsuke hits a low blow on Jeff Hardy before the referee rings the bell. Referee rings the bell. Kinshasa. Shinsuke wins the title. Randy Orton comes out. Shinsuke powders out of the ring. And then Orton gives Jeff a low blow. Like, he sweeps his legs and kicks him in the nuts, stomps him in the nuts, and walks away. So, for a heel turn for Randy Orton, that was kind of weak. I mean, I've seen better heel turns. I've seen better heel turns from Randy Orton. That one was kind of weak. I think Randy Orton, I know his last match was against Jeff Hardy, I think at Backlash, which was actually pretty good. And then Randy Orton went away for some reason. Maybe an injury. Maybe he just wanted time off. I don't know. But the only connection I could make between Orton and Jeff Hardy was the fact that they had wrestled previously before Orton left. My problem with this, prior to this match, is that I felt like Jeff Hardy and Shinsuke Nakamura didn't really have that much of a build-up. Which would make sense for the match to go as short as it did, but then you basically swapped the U.S. title just to build to Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton. So then where does that leave Shinsuke Nakamura? Like, I don't see the point. If you were going to build to Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton, why would you take the U.S. title off of Jeff Hardy just so you could have not a blood feud, but to just have just a feud with Jeff and Randy Orton? I mean, personally, I probably would have left it. If I knew Randy Orton, if I knew that Randy Orton was the plan, I probably would have left the title on Jeff Hardy so they could feud over the belt. But maybe Shinsuke Nakamura goes in a completely different direction, and we have an Orton-Jeff Hardy feud. I don't know. But either way, we got a new U.S. champion. Then we go to Kevin Owens versus Braun Strowman, and easily the shock of the night. I mean, this was the match itself was not that good. Owens trying to escape, Braun preventing him. Owens trying to escape, Braun preventing him. The mechanics of the match wasn't that good. It was actually kind of boring. But it got interesting when Kevin Owens handcuffed when Braun Strowman handcuffed Kevin Owens to the ring rope. Strowman predictably breaks the cuffs. Owens sprints up the cage. Braun follows him up the cage. They're standing on top of the cage. Braun grabs Kevin Owens by the throat and chokeslams him off the cage, doing an announce table. And as this spot was happening, I'm like, no, they're not going to do this. There's no way Owens is taking that bump off the cage. I'm sitting there like this, like, no, this isn't going to happen. Oh my God, he just died. Oh God. It was disgusting. It's right up there with the Foley bump. I mean, granted, the Foley bump, he kind of did like a flip off the cage. Like, Undertaker kind of tossed him. But honestly, it's right up there with the Foley bump. It was... If they decided to do the Slammies this year, it will win Spot of the Year or Most Extreme Moment of the Year. It is the most extreme moment of the year. I mean, the Money in the Bank plunge that Owens took was crazy, but it looked more protected. It looked more contrived. And it didn't look as devastating as it did at Extreme Rules. So, I mean, that's definitely Spot of the Year, Most Extreme Moment of the Year. Um, what's lost in all this, though, is Kevin Owens won the match. Technically, Kevin Owens was declared the winner here because the rules of a steel cage match is the first person that escapes the cage wins the match. And that completely gets lost. Like, I'd have to go back and actually watch the pay-per-view to see if the announcers even cover it. But, like, when it happened when I was there live, like, they didn't even, I didn't hear JoJo, I didn't hear nobody say, and the winner of the match, Kevin Owens, it was just completely lost. The medics came out, Braun Strowman was like, Braun! And they played his music, and he just walked away. So, yeah, there's that. We go to the Bludgeon Brothers defending the SmackDown Tag Team Championships against Team Hell No. Earlier on in the show, Kane was taken out by the Bludgeon Brothers with that mallet. You can clearly see Eric Rowan hit the door. It's like, and see, when people say wrestling is fake, and how could you watch that fake shit, and then you see what Eric Rowan did, hitting the fucking door, clearly hitting the door and not hitting Kane's knee. It's shit like that that makes it hard for me to defend pro wrestling. I'm just saying. But back to Owens and Strowman. I got another point I want to make about that. Not so much the match, just the build up to it. Can someone please explain to me Braun Strowman's obsession with Kevin Owens? I don't get it. Like, I know that Kevin Owens tried to befriend him a few weeks back, and Braun refused. And then ever since then, Braun has just been trying to beat up Kevin Owens. And it's not been explained to me what Braun's motivations are for going after Kevin Owens. And I think that's part of the reason why I wasn't as invested in this match when it happened. I mean, the bump off the cage was cool, but if there's no purpose to it, then it's just not a purpose. Like when McMahon threw Austin off the cage and, well, bounced his head off the cage and he fell to the table, that was damn near 2 years of a build-up with those two to get to that match. So you were invested in everything that Austin and Vince McMahon did. With Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman, now this is just my opinion, to me there's no investment in the story. So witnessing this carnage was cool on the surface, but why? Maybe it'll get explained tonight. Who knows? I don't know. Alright, so then we go to, from that, I've already talked about, oh, yeah. So the Bludgeon Brothers, Kane was taken out with a mallet to the knee. And Daniel Bryan wrestled half of this match by himself and was convincingly whooping their ass. Like, on the surface, you see little Daniel Bryan taking on two giants. On paper, that doesn't bode too well, but all three men did a good job of making everybody in the match look good. And Kane came out and limped. And then, even with Kane coming out and limping, even with the numbers being even, Kane was still injured. So that's how the Bludgeon Brothers were able to walk away with their tag team championships. That match was okay. I was more impressed with Daniel Bryan's wherewithal to be able to fight off both those big men. Kane didn't really add anything to the match, but he didn't take away. So, cool. This match was the shocker. Bobby Lashley versus Roman Reigns. This match literally put me to sleep. Literally put me to sleep. I was sitting in the arena like sleep while watching this match. Like my head would just nod every so often, every time there was a big bump. Nothing in this match. They did a belly-to-belly suplex over the table, and that was cool. And then Bobby Lashley beat him with a spear. That was the only notable thing. I think the notable thing, honestly, is just the fact that Bobby Lashley won because I was not expecting that. And this was the only match I was wrong about. I predicted Lesnar to come back last night and lay both of them out, and then just kind of have a no contest gimmick. But with the match going on in the ninth spot or the seventh spot, two pre-show matches, um, that kind of went away for me. And yeah, so the match was boring. Granted, the crowd, I was there. We didn't give the match a chance to be good. We were just already shitting on it. People were either shitting on it or being quiet. Mostly, people were being quiet. And honestly, I'd much rather, if I'm a competitor in the ring, I'd much rather people shit on my match than be completely silent. Because if you're still shitting on a match, at least it's a reaction. And speaking of reactions, that Iron Man match, which is the main event, I'm going to get to in a few minutes, that match was fun. I thought that the AJ Styles Rusev match would be the loudest match of the night, and I was wrong. The Iron Man match was. So Lashley beats Reigns in 14 minutes and 50 seconds. Alexa Bliss beats Nia Jax for the retains her title against Nia Jax in an Extreme Rules match, if you want to call it that. And probably the worst fucking match on the card. Those chair shots that Alexa was given was so weak. Trash can shots were shit. The trash lid shots were shit. Natalya and Mickey. Natalya was accompanying Nia Jax to the ring. Mickey was accompanying Alexa Bliss to the ring. Neither of them added anything to the match. Ronda Rousey was in the front row. She didn't really add anything to the match except a pop from the crowd, which they kept showing her on the damn Titantron throughout the event, which pissed me off. Like, we have a Raw Tag Title match at the beginning of the show. We have the B Team versus Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, and then the Titantron the camera pans to Ronda Rousey, and then you got a bunch of dumbasses in the crowd chanting Ronda Rousey in the middle of a fucking World Tag Title match. That pissed me off. I sat there pissed off at everybody. Like, what the fuck are y'all disrespecting these people in the ring for? Ronda Rousey's not even in the fucking ring. Anyway, sorry. I'm back now. So, as I said, Natalya, Mickey, Ronda added nothing to that match whatsoever. Mickey hit Ronda with a pretty stiff kendo stick shot. That was pretty much the best part of the match for me. The DDT in the chair was shit. Like, this match was just shit. I can't. It was shit. Everything in that match was shit. So Alexa wins. I predicted Alexa was going to win. And my reasonings for that was because I feel like Alexa Bliss versus Ronda Rousey has more money. There's more money in Ronda Rousey versus Bliss. Plus, we've already seen Rousey and Nia Jax. Admittedly, it was good. A hell of a lot better than that match should have been. But nonetheless, we've already seen the match already. They might do a triple threat at SummerSlam, but I just think that the money match for me is Ronda Rousey and Alexa Bliss for SummerSlam. Or whenever they decide to do it, which I'm assuming it will be SummerSlam because that's the next pay-per-view. Alright, AJ Styles versus Rusev for the WWE Championship. English really didn't get involved that much. As a matter of fact, AJ actually baseball slid English before he hit the phenomenal forearm for the win. But this match loses points for one thing. And I know it's nitpicking. I know it's nitpicking. But this match, for me, loses points. I talked about the belly-to-belly suplex spot that Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns did in their match, right? It was like the only cool thing in the match. And so Rusev and AJ do the same thing. And it's literally the same setup. Guy runs around the ring, gets caught, gets the belly-to-belly. The only difference between the two spots is that with Reigns and Lashley, it was over the announce table. And with AJ and Rusev, it was on the floor. But literally, guy runs, catches him, gets the belly-to-belly. that match loses points, because one thing that I hate is when wrestlers repeat spots from earlier matches. I absolutely hate it. Be creative. Be original. Shit, it's not hard. One of the most alarming examples of this, and I talked about it in my WrestleMania 34 review. I'll talk about it again just so you can have an idea of what I'm talking about. So Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali, I think it was, they did the Spanish Fly spot, which is like the C4 off the top rope, like a flipping rock bottom, basically, and it looked beautiful. And then Charlotte and Asuka did it in their match, and it was okay, but literally a match and a half ago, we saw the same shit. And this is the same thing, the belly to belly spot. Again, it's nitpicking, but it's just something that I don't like. Don't do the same spot. Be creative, bitches. All right, main event. And again, now that match with AJ and Rusev, it was loud. You know, I had the AJ Styles shirt on, and you know my friend had a Rusev Day shirt on, so you got the dueling chants. Let's go AJ Rusev, or AJ Styles Rusev Day. It was loud, but Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins, that crowd was vocal the entire night. Now, something interesting is on Wikipedia that I'm going to look into. This is supposed to be a 30-minute Iron Man match, but on here it says 30 minutes and 10 seconds. So I don't know where the fuck the 10 seconds came from, but nonetheless. So, rules of Iron Man match, I don't know if I've ever covered an Iron Man match on my channel before. I don't think I've ever done an event that had an Iron Man match, so I will explain the rules for those who may not know. An Iron Man match, you're given an allotted time, whether it's 30, 15, 10, 60 minutes, whatever. Within that time limit, the objective of the match is to score as many falls as possible via pinfall or submission or disqualification or countout. Now, if you have a match where you have a no holds barred Iron Man match, like you did at Bragging Rights 2009 with John Cena and Randy Orton, the only thing that counted in that match were pinfalls and submissions. And falls counted anywhere because John Cena and Randy Orton are boring and they need gimmicks to make their matches good. But Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins had no gimmicks. They just had themselves and their wrestling ability. Drew McIntyre did get involved to cost. Well, he gave Seth Rollins a fall by getting involved in the match, but his attack allowed Dolph Ziggler to pick up 2 consecutive falls, tying it up to 3-3 at that point. Now, I think it was around the 24-minute mark or the 25-minute mark. I think it might have been the 24-minute mark, where like the last 10 seconds of that minute, the crowd would go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then they make the buzzer noise like it was the Royal Rumble. When they did it the first couple of times, I groaned. I'm like, really, guys? And then by like the third time, I got caught up in doing it. And so every 10 seconds, they would do the countdown, and then they make the Royal Rumble noise. They did this every minute. It got so bad that they actually took the clock off of the Titantron so that the fans can participate more. And I'm thinking that's probably where they got that extra 10 seconds from on Wikipedia. So they took the clock away, and the crowd just booed. They completely forgot about the match. I forgot about the match. I was there. I completely forgot about the match. I found myself chanting along the crowd, bring back the clock, bring back the clock, bring back the clock. So 10 minutes left, or like 9 minutes and some change left, they bring back the clock. And the building goes bananas. You would have thought that, I don't know, The Rock came back. It was that loud when they brought the clock back. And again, every 10 seconds, or every last 10 seconds of every minute, they would do that countdown. And they would make the Royal Rumble buzzer noise. But what's interesting is when we got to the last 10 seconds of the match, They didn't do that because there was so much drama going on at once. Like Seth hit the curb stomp and couldn't make the pin in time, and then it was declared a draw. And then Kurt Angle came out to a loud ovation because he's from Pittsburgh and that's where we were at. So Kurt Angle had to get his little pop of the night. Kurt Angle comes out and makes it go into overtime, and that might have been where the extra 10 seconds came from. Which, if that's the case, then Wikipedia is wrong. They should not have that on there. It should just be another match because technically it was another match. So it goes into overtime. Drew McIntyre was thrown out of the ring, or the referee sent them out of ringside. So Drew McIntyre comes back in from the crowd. He distracts Seth Rollins. Dolph hits the zigzag and walks away with the championship. When the cameras went off the air, everyone, including myself, stood up and gave Seth Rollins a standing ovation, and it was well-deserved because that was a hell of a match. But yeah, the fans really hijacked that match, and it was fun. So my overall letter grade for this show is an, I gave it an A when I was leaving the arena last night, but I think that's just because I had the adrenaline of the show and I was so pumped up. But now that I've had about 24 or less than 24 hours to think about it and sleep on it, I've decided to give this event a B. The pre-show matches never figure into my rating, even when I was doing number ratings. I never factored in the pre-show matches, and I'm not going to do it now. I gave it a B because we'll go through the entire card again. If Bray was hurt, then I understand why that match was the way it was. Finn Balor and Baron Corbin was good, but it felt like it was just an unnecessary match to have, and it kind of felt like 8 minutes of filler. But Finn Balor is always cool to watch. Carmella and Asuka left a bad taste in my mouth. Shinsuke and Jeff Hardy left a bad taste in my mouth. Owens and Strowman was only saved by that bump off the cage. Had they not done that, that match would have been shit. The SmackDown tag title match was cool because of Daniel Bryan. Again, Kane didn't add anything to it, but he didn't take away, so that match was fine. Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns put me to sleep. Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax was the drizzling shits. AJ Rusev was good, other than them recycling that belly-to-belly spot that Reigns and Lashley used, and the Iron Man match was just gold. So, what brought it down for me was the Raw Tag Title match. Again, if Bray's hurt, I understand that. I might give that one a pass. Balor and Corbin just kind of felt unnecessary, but really what stuck it for me was the two women matches. Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns, which literally put me to sleep. And, the U.S. title match, which was barely a match. That's what brought it down. But yeah, I give it a B. Now, usually that's where I end the video, but I'm going to end this video with my opinion about these gimmick pay-per-views and why they don't work. Okay? So on the WWE calendar year, you have Elimination Chamber, you have Money in the Bank, you have Extreme Rules, you have Hell in a Cell, and I know there's another one, TLC, okay? So more than half of your, well, not quite half, but just about half of your calendar year are gimmick-based pay-per-views, and that's a problem. That's a problem because when Hell in a Cell comes around in October or whenever it is, you know it's going to be a Hell in a Cell match. So no matter what feud is going on at that time, you're going to get a Hell in a Cell match. But the only reason why you're getting it is not because it calls for a Hell in a Cell match, just because it falls on that part of the calendar. And that's a problem. Back in the day when you had a Hell in a Cell match, it was damn necessary. Okay? Undertaker and Mankind have been fighting damn near for 2 years up to their Hell in a Cell match. So a Hell in a Cell match was damn necessary. Triple H and Cactus Jack, a Hell in a Cell match was necessary. Triple H and Jericho, They had only really been feuding since WrestleMania, but there was no other place for them to go with that but Hell in a Cell. So it felt like it needed to be inside Hell in a Cell. Undertaker and Shane McMahon felt like it needed, as silly as it was, felt like it needed to be inside Hell in a Cell. So having it take place at WrestleMania, it felt special. Triple H and Shawn Michaels having that Hell in a Cell match, or Triple H and Triple H and Michaels is another example. But the example I was going to use was Triple H and Undertaker at WrestleMania 28. That was inside Hell in a Cell, and it felt like it belonged inside Hell in a Cell. And having it at WrestleMania made it special. But when you have the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, you're just getting Hell in a Cell matches just because it's a spot on the calendar. Same thing with Extreme Rules. Same things with TLC. The last TLC event they had, where you had that 5-on-3 match, there was no need for that to be a tables, ladders, and chairs match. It was no need whatsoever for that to be a TLC match. And the other fucked up thing about that is that was the only TLC match they had on the card, which is another problem because with Extreme Rules, I felt like every match should have had some sort of extreme stipulation. Or you defeat the purpose of having Extreme Rules. Iron Man match, okay, I would give that a pass. The cage match is cool. The only Extreme Rules match they had on yesterday's show was shit. So you just defeat the purpose of that. Here's my suggestion. I think that they need to get rid of all the gimmick pay-per-views. Get rid of all of them. Seriously. Death to you, bitch. Be gone. If you want to keep Money in the Bank, cool. Keep Money in the Bank. Or if you want to keep TLC, keep TLC. But keep one or the other, and then you can just combine the concepts. I would personally keep TLC. You can have your table match, you can have your ladder match, you can have your chair match, which is dumb as fuck, but you can do it. And then you can have your Money in the Bank matches at TLC. That's what I would do. Get rid of Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. That way it's not predictable when we're going to have a Hell in a Cell match. And if you do that, when we have a Hell in a Cell match, it'll feel more special. You know? Stop limiting your gimmick pay-per-views to a specific part of the calendar, because then that's the only time of the year we're going to see it. And that's my opinion of gimmick pay-per-views. So there's my rant there. Extreme Rules gets a B, and that's pretty much going to do it for the episode 82. I've been more on E. Freeman Jr. So we got SummerSlam coming up. I'm going to start getting back into reviewing old pay-per-views. And since we're in the SummerSlam season, I'm going to start with some SummerSlams. So you guys have a nice night. I'm about to get ready for Monday Night Raw. It's about to be lit. Oh, before I go, something else important happened in Extreme Rules that's really going to affect tonight more so than last night, but it happened last night, so I'm going to talk about it. Kurt Angle was confronted backstage by an interviewer, basically asking Kurt Angle, what's the deal with the Universal title? And Kurt Angle basically said, you know what, Brock hasn't been here in months, but yet he can show up at a UFC pay-per-view and challenge their champion. So this is what I'm going to do. Either Brock Lesnar is going to show up tonight on Raw. Well, yeah, he's going to show up on Raw tonight, or he'll come to terms of an agreement of when he's going to defend this title, or Kurt Angle is going to strip Brock Lesnar of the Universal title. My thoughts on what's going to happen on Raw tonight. I don't think Brock Lesnar is going to be there. I think that Brock Lesnar is going to come to terms on when and where he will defend his Universal title, but it won't be through Brock Lesnar. It will be through Paul Heyman. Hell, I'd like to see them strip Brock of the title personally. I just don't think they're going to do it. But will we see Brock tonight? Probably not. We'll probably see Paul Heyman, and he'll come to terms on when Brock's going to defend this title next. I could get into a whole rant about why Brock shouldn't be the Universal Champion, but I'm just going to save that for another video because this video has already gone on too long. So, yeah. This has been Warren's Vlog, episode 82. You guys have a wonderful night.